Hey everyone, welcome to another edition of my live tea tasting. I've got a great blend for you guys tonight, and I am so looking forward to trying this out because I have already steeped it, as you can see right here, and it smells absolutely delicious. So once again, we're doing a Tilula blend. This one is called Granny Smith's Oolong. And let me tell you, this entire kitchen smells like apple, and I can't get enough of it. So we're going to start off with the type of oolong that's been used. Generally, we've had like a lot of the Chinese style oolong, which is like the darker, the darker darker brown colors, and they tend to be a bit stick or leaf-like. This time, hey Snail, welcome. Hey Ma, welcome. So we're doing this time it's going to be more of a Taiwanese style, which does tend to go better with apple than the Chinese style, and I'll get into that in just a moment. But first thing we'll want to take a look at is the shape of the oolong. Now, I've done a lot of these Taiwanese oolongs before, but as you can tell, it's just a little pellet. What I love about these is that after they're steeped, you can steep them multiple times, but once you do, look at the difference in size. It's huge. This is an almost completely open leaf. All of that leaf is, it keeps on curling a little bit, but all of this leaf is in that little pellet. And the way that it's produced is because it's heated, rolled, bruised. They press it down a little bit, and then they roll it some more, press it and bruise it. And this is part of the oxidation process where you break the leaf just enough to let the water out and expose it to air. And then you put it back in the heater so that it starts the sealing process, and it stops it from being oxidized. And then after it's heated enough again, you do the same thing. You pull it off the heater, roll it, squeeze it, roll it, squeeze it, and so on. And you do this a bunch of times, sometimes 8, sometimes 12, any time in between. But then you end up with this little pellet that's really, really tiny but hard as a rock. So it's got that oolong in it. This is specifically TheCommuni-Tea oolong, which is, it's Taiwanese style, but it's a specific kind of roast so that you get a bit of like an orchid smell. It's got dried green apple bits and natural flavoring. So this is, if we take a look at the tea itself, you can see it's very evenly colored. All you see is like the greens and a little bit of pinks and reds and yellows from the apples. And that's pretty much, it sums it up very well because there's not a whole lot of ingredients that goes into it. But let me tell you, like, this is smelling incredible. Like, all I smell is, like, it's very apple juicy, very sweet, very profound in its flavoring. And let's go ahead and take our first sip. Ooh, that is really good. It's basically apple juice with that flowery. It's got a flowery base. It's got like a very, very fresh springtime. Oh no, sorry, fall time apple flavoring to it. It's really, really pleasant. Now, generally, like, I would agree with this kind of pairing using a Taiwanese oolong versus a Chinese oolong, basically because you get more of a vegetal sweet creaminess to the oolong instead of like the brusque kind of earthy flavor that you would get from a Chinese oolong. This pairs well with the apple because it brings out the sweetness more. It doesn't combat it at all. It brings it out and gives it a nice base to present upon. And also taking a look at the liqueur, it's very clear, very much like apple juice. It's got like that little light yellow, brownish, tan coloring to it. There's very, very little sediment on the bottom, which is kind of surprising because a lot of the time when you twist and you curl and you roll the oolong and you squeeze it, little tiny bits break off within the leaf and it doesn't go anywhere, so that when you steep it and it opens up, that leaf, that extra leaf becomes sediment. There's not a whole lot of that. And I don't know if they do something special to like get it out. But that's very impressive. Like usually you'd see a lot of powder at the bottom. Wow, this is like it's a really appley, appley flavored tea. Like if you love apple juice and you get that like fall apple cider, it tastes a lot like apple cider except without that thickness that a lot of apple ciders have. You like the color? Oh yeah, it's a gorgeous color. You know, I mean, there's no denying it. I mean, we see. Wait, what? Why is it saying? Yeah, I just noticed my Twitch is telling me I'm streaming last week's, even though I switched. Nobody cares. That's fine. I switched the title, but I guess it reverted back. I don't know. Yeah, you gotta love modern technology, right? Anyway. Yeah, sorry about that. It just caught my attention for a minute. Now, I've always mentioned that I've preferred Taiwanese oolongs over Chinese. It's just my preference. I tend to enjoy like the lighter flavors. If I'm gonna go to a darker flavor, I might as well just go like pu'er or a black tea. And not to say that Chinese oolongs don't taste good; they absolutely do. But I tend to be more in the mood for Taiwanese over Chinese. Oh, excuse me. And like that being said, it's easier to pair Taiwanese oolongs with sweeter blends rather than having to. I don't want to say struggle, but having to compete with the darker blends that you would get with a Chinese oolong. I think that if they had used Chinese oolong, it would mask the apple quite a bit. It would still come out pretty well, but you would get a completely different experience, completely different palate if you had used the Chinese versus the Taiwanese. So that being said, I love the way that this tea just settles on my tongue. Like I'm still tasting it in the back of my throat, and I'm getting. It's a very, very slow burning tea. The flavor just sits there and kind of like mingles. Very sweet, it's not sugary. This is an unsweetened blend. I didn't put anything in it, but I think that if I were to sweeten it, I would use honey. Because honey and apple go very well together. Even caramel? I think caramel might be a really good sweetener for it as well. And there's a kind of like that flowery orchid flavoring of the TheCommuni-Tea is sitting on my tongue, like on the sides a little bit, and it swirls. Like I can actually taste a little bit at the top of my mouth and in the back of my throat. I guess like a good description would be kind of like an echo of a taste. You know, like I'm getting the main flavoring on my palate, but as I continue to speak, it tends to swirl, and I taste and retaste it again and again. And I'm holding back because I love this flavor. It's got kind of like a little bit of a bubblegum kind of flavoring to it. It's minuscule, but it's there. I'm really enjoying it. It's very sweet. Reminds me of like a carnival kind of a thing. Mm. That is really, really nice. But you may have missed it. What's in the blend? Oh, it's just TheCommuni-Tea, apple pieces, and natural flavoring. So it's a very simple mixture, but it's effective. It's very much this is very much a fall tea, even early spring. You know, I mean, I like when the weather's still crisp and it's not cold anymore. It's just nice and cool outside. This is that kind of blend where you can enjoy it on a sunny day where it's not too hot. This is, I would say, it's like just maybe a step or two below apple cider when we're talking about intensity. When we're talking about like the actual heaviness of the flavor, because you're juicing the apples versus steeping the apples and taking what's in the apple out versus digesting the apple itself. So it's a heavy apple flavor, but not as a juice. Mm. And you know, as I mentioned before, I really love the Taiwanese oolongs. Specifically, there is a kind of texture that Taiwanese oolongs tend to have. It's like a little bit of a thickness, and that also comes into play when you're dealing with the apple because it gives it even more of an apple juice impression. This is not watery at all. Like I would be interested to see how this would stand up in a second steep, mainly because when you're drinking something with flavoring in it, the second steep is not as intense because all the flavoring washed off in the first. So I'd be interested to see how it holds up on a second steep, because this has actual apple pieces in it. So I get the feeling like it'll hold up pretty well. Mm. And right now it's starting to cool off a little bit, and I'm getting more of the flowery, more of the orchid flavor coming out of it. And keep in mind, because this is an oolong, I didn't steep it at the full 212, which I could have. I tend to play it safe a little bit when it comes to teas, because as you can notice, this leaf has not fully opened. It's still a little bit, closed, a little bit curled, which is fine because this is the kind of leaf that's meant to be steeped over and over and over again. You can, if you do it right, you can get I'm getting some spam on my Twitch. Anyway, you could it's meant to be in like a gaiwan kind of situation where you steep just a little bit, maybe a few of these little pebbles in there, and you steep it over and over again. And the more you do, the more the leaf opens up, releasing more flavor, more flavor. So you get like light flavor within the first maybe 3 or 4 steeps. Then it starts to become more intense around the 5th or 6th. Then you get like the full flavor around 7th, 8th, 9th. And you can keep going. This is meant to stand up to that kind of steeping. You know, if you do it at a full 212, then I mean you'll get all the full flavor out of it in one go, most likely. However, it won't stand up to too many more steeps of that kind. This one I did at around 200 degrees, and I did it for 5 minutes, which you're supposed to do it for about 3, but because this was like a really, really closed leaf, I do it for 5 just to give it more time to open. I wonder what the instructions say. What 3? Yeah, 190, about 195 for 3 minutes. I did it for 5 because I wanted to get a nice full flavor. If you were to do this, this is meant to be steeped multiple times, I assume, because it, like I said, the people who write these labels, they know what they're talking about. So they want to preserve that flavor on and on and on. Because this is, for me, on the stream, just a one-shot deal. I want to drink it and go. Like if I were to drink this on my own time, I would definitely just keep it in here and slow steep it multiple times and get as much flavor as I can out of it. When I'm in my office, I'd probably do it that way. But as for this, the stream, it's one shot and go. Which, I mean, like, I still enjoy the tea, but I don't linger on it, so to speak. So I'm going to go ahead and do the Thomas taste and see if I can find any nuances that I'm missing out on. Wow, okay. That's interesting. I kind of got a huge, like a whiff of rose. I guess that's the flavoring of like the orchid and the apple. It was making the apple a lot sweeter as I held it in. And as I breathed out, I gave out like a bit of a perfumey, perfumey, flowery flavor to it. And it's actually really, really nice and pleasant. It's more intense than I thought it would be. The floral flavor, I should specify, was more intense than I thought it would be. I'm giving it a nice. I think that I could ice this tea and not even have to sweeten it. Normally, I put some stuff in my iced tea just to enhance the flavor and give it a good breath. With the either if I do use sugar, stevia, honey, or anything. Hey, Martin, welcome. I'm doing an apple tea, man. You would love this. I recommend. I'm giving it like a nice breath. So any alcoholic teas? I mean, there is a tradition. That's where what's the word? That's what toddies are. They originally started as alcohol in teas, but yeah, you could spike it if you want to. There's what was that? There was a. It was Juliet from Timula was talking about putting. Was this? I'm down. Just don't kill me. Oh, I know. You already had. You already had your share. I was able to watch some of it, but I wasn't able to participate a little bit. For those of you out there who don't know, Martin's an artist. He's a cover artist for comic books and stuff, and he was doing a stream earlier today, and he was drinking his alcohol with his buddies so that every time somebody bit on a comic, they took a shot. So yeah, but. Yeah, you can. I'm trying to remember. She put, I believe it was rum in a coconut tea. I'm trying to remember because this was like about 2 years ago. I want to say when we were talking about that. It was I think coconut pouchong with rum or tequila or something like that. It was very interesting. I'm not a drinker, so I don't know very much about it. But yeah, you can definitely put alcohol in your tea and figure out what it is you like and go for it. I mean, tea is very objective. So yeah, you blend it however you like. And I lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, I was talking about the wide breadth of flavoring. There's a certain kind of scent that when you breathe out from rose tea, that is kind of extremely perfumey. It goes from flowery to a very light, cool kind of flavoring to it. It's very nice, very pleasant, but also very it's a sharp breath. I want to say that's the best way I can put it. It's a couple notches below minty. But yeah, I enjoy that kind of flavoring. That's what I'm getting from this as I breathe out from the Thomas taste. But yeah, without doing that, like just alone, this last sip tastes just like apple juice. Ooh, that's delicious. Okay, I'm going to open up the floor. Questions, comments, anything you want to talk about, now's the time. I'm going to open up with Teresa's question that I always do. What food would I flavor this? What would I pair with that? What food would I pair this with? That is going to be a good question. Definitely something sweet. Because, this is essentially a dessert tea. Very appley, very rock fruit, flowery. So I would pair this. This can actually pair with something a little bit more sweet than I usually recommend. So I'm going to move away from the white biscuits and give it something good like an apple. How about something chocolatey? Like I could see this paired with like a Hershey bar, maybe a chocolate pudding, like a milk chocolate pudding. Even if you're into it, I know Snea, you're not into it very much, but peanut butter with apples, you can't go wrong with that. What else? What else? Gosh, this is harder than I thought. What goes well with apples?
Vanilla ice cream.
Vanilla ice cream. Yes, thank you. I forgot you can do creamy with this because it's not super citrusy. The milk won't curdle. So yeah, vanilla ice cream would probably go very well with this. Yeah, that's definitely a I never even thought of it that way. And I have mixed a few apple teas. Oh, Martin, if you're gonna watch this later, apple tea me. You see what I did there? I know, like you probably don't drink apple teas, but I don't even know what goes in it. I just couldn't pass up the dad joke though. Ooh. All right, questions, comments, anything you want to talk about? Now is the time. I do have. I'll give half an announcement. Nice fresh fried apple fritters with ice cream. Oh yeah, absolutely. That sounds so good. Give it like a nice, like straight out of the oven, or no, you fry fritters. Yeah, so like straight out of the fryer, just like in there, a scoop of ice cream and a nice little chaser. Ooh, that sounds good. I do have half of an announcement. I don't want to give away too much. I've been working on a project I've mentioned before. It has recently entered the following phase. So I will be. It should be mostly complete. Maybe in a few weeks, maybe about a month and a half tops. But once that's out, I will be making the announcement. I am super excited about this because it's something that I've been working on passionately for a long time, and I'm holding my breath a little bit, not talking about it because I don't want to go public until I actually have a hard, what's the word? You and your dirty minds. No, like a hard product. But yeah, so I'm not going to make the full announcement yet. I'm holding my tongue, and believe me, it's really difficult for me to do that. But yeah, there is going to be news coming soon. And also, happy St. Patrick's Day. This is completely coincidental. I just realized I'm wearing green for St. Patty's Day. But yeah, it's a green for St. Patty's Day, and it's also a green oolong kind of a thing. So that was totally neither here nor there, but I think it was worth mentioning. Anyway, I guess that's it. So thank you all for joining me tonight. This has been an absolutely delicious, whatever it is, blessings. Oh, thank you very much. Thank you. This has been a wonderful blend. I will be posting the link in the description afterwards. So keep yourself tuned. And until next time, have a great day, a wonderful weekend. I'll catch you later. Bye.